She was just a teenage girl, overlooked and underestimated, but one bold move would turn the tables on a man worth billions. Don't miss this story. Subscribe now to witness courage in action. The mansion was enormous, a fortress of wealth perched on a hill overlooking the city. Inside, chandeliers gleamed and marble floors reflected the gold and silver accents everywhere. But to 14-year-old Amara, it felt like a cage. Her mother, Tyesha, had been working here for over a decade. She cleaned the floors, polished the silver, and endured the condescending comments of the family she served. And now, Amara was here, dragged along for the weekend, told to stay out of sight. Amara didn't like being invisible. She hated it. She hated pretending she didn't exist while the people in this house moved as if her entire family had no value. Tonight, the house was quieter than usual. Mr. Dorian Langford, a billionaire known for his ruthless deals and extravagant parties, had announced a challenge. $250 million, he slurred, swirling a glass of amber liquid. To anyone who can open my safe. It's uncrackable. The technicians, highly paid security experts, scanned the massive vault. They were exhausted, their faces pale under the bright lights. They had been working for days, running code-breaking programs, analyzing mechanical locks, every attempt failing. Amara, sitting cross-legged on the couch, quietly watched. She had heard her mother whisper the numbers once, months ago, when she was cleaning the study. A fleeting glance, a passing joke from Mr. Langford, she hadn't thought much of it at the time. But now, with the safe in front of her, her mind clicked. She could do it. Her heart raced. The safe was enormous, its dial at adult chest height. Her small hands barely reached. But she had something they didn't. She remembered everything she saw. Every pattern, every rotation. Her photographic memory was flawless, precise. Amara? Tyesha's whisper broke through her thoughts. Shh, Mama. Watch. Her mother's eyes widened. She knew her daughter could do incredible things, but the stakes here. $250 million, the wrath of a billionaire, the humiliation if she failed. It was terrifying. Amara took a deep breath. Her legs trembled slightly, but she moved toward the safe. One small step, then another. Every head in the room slowly turned as if the house itself noticed her defiance. Excuse me, Mr. Langford, Amara said, her voice soft but clear. Can I try? The room froze. Even the hum of the air conditioning seemed to pause. Langford squinted at her, confusion twisting into amusement, then into ridicule. You? A child? He laughed, the sound echoing harshly. You think a little girl can open this? This is a fortress of wealth, a masterpiece of engineering. This isn't a toy! Amara flinched but didn't retreat. Her mother instinctively stepped forward, but Amara gently shook her head. She would do this alone. Langford sneered, taking a step closer. Tell me, Tyesha, did you teach her this trick? Planning to steal my fortune in your spare time? Tears welled in Tyesha's eyes. No! She doesn't know anything. She remembers, Amara said quietly, firm. I remember. I watched. I paid attention. Anyone who watches carefully can learn. The word anyone hung in the room like a challenge. Langford's smirk faltered, replaced by suspicion. But arrogance was stronger than caution in his veins. Fine, he sneered, waving his hand. Try then. Fail and crawl back to your corner, little girl. Amara's hands reached the dial. She could feel the metal cold against her fingers, smooth and unyielding. She closed her eyes and visualized every movement, every rotation she had memorized months ago. Left 3 times to 52, right 2 to 19. Left 1 to 87. Final right to 6. The dial clicked. She held her breath, gripped the handle, and pulled. The massive door swung open. Silence. Then chaos. The technicians froze, mouths open. Papers, cash bundles, security protocols, and confidential contracts stared them in the face. Amara's small hands had revealed a fortune, a lifetime of secrets, in under a minute. Langford's face turned a shade of red Amara had never seen. Shock, then rage, then disbelief. Impossible! A child. Before he could reach her, Tyesha stepped between them. Touch her, and you'll answer to every law in this room, she said, voice low but unwavering. Langford waved his hand, furious. I meant anyone qualified. Not some schoolgirl? Anyone, Amara said, her voice growing steadier. You said anyone, Mr. Langford. You didn't say professional. You didn't say adult. Anyone. The tension was electric. Every witness, every technician held their phones, cameras ready. Every word, every motion was being documented. Langford's threats now seemed hollow, powerless against the truth laid bare. Sasha Rivers, the lead technician, finally stepped forward. You signed it, Langford. You made the offer. Witnesses heard you. Audio, video, recorded. It's binding. Langford's eyes widened. Rage twisted into panic. He took a step forward, then stopped, realizing every threat, every cruel word, every attempt to intimidate was now evidence against him. Amara stepped back slightly, breathing hard. The safe was open. Her heart still hammered. She had done the impossible. Her mother gathered her in a tight embrace. You were incredible, Tyesha whispered. Incredible and brave, but Langford wasn't finished. You'll pay for this, he hissed. I'll ruin you. Sasha Rivers raised her hand, her phone already streaming. Every word, every action, documented. You can threaten all you want. The world is watching. The sound of the city outside began to mix with the chaos inside. Cameras clicking, technicians whispering, Langford pacing. Amara held on to her mother, trembling but triumphant. This was only the beginning. The morning after the safe was opened, the mansion was a storm of whispers and accusations. Amara and her mother, Tyesha, sat in the kitchen, cups of untouched coffee steaming before them. Outside, the city was waking up, unaware that inside the walls of the Langford estate, a quiet revolution had just begun. Amara's small hands were still trembling. She replayed every second of the previous night in her mind. The click of the dial, the metallic swing of the vault door, the way Langford's face had turned from smug arrogance to disbelief, and most importantly, the way her mother had stood by her, unwavering. But the victory was far from complete. Langford was seething, scheming, plotting revenge, and that was dangerous. A knock at the door interrupted her thoughts. Tyesha opened it to find a woman in a dark blazer holding a badge. Federal agents, Mrs. Rivers? Ms. Amara? The agent asked, voice firm but polite. We need to speak with you about Mr. Langford. You may have just uncovered evidence of multiple federal crimes. Tyesha's hand clutched Amara's shoulder. I don't understand. The agent handed over a folder. We've been investigating Langford for years. Embezzlement, illegal offshore accounts, tax fraud. And thanks to your daughter, certain hidden files in that safe have given us the proof we needed. Amara's eyes widened. She had opened the safe thinking only about the thrill, the challenge. But now she realized her actions could change lives. Your daughter. She's extraordinary, the agent continued. This isn't just skill, it's courage. You need to understand that what she did last night has exposed crimes that have been hidden for decades. Tyesha pulled Amara close. I always knew she was special, but I never imagined. Meanwhile, inside the mansion, Langford was pacing, fuming. His lawyers tried to calm him. Sir, the evidence is irrefutable. We need to negotiate, or the press will be all over this. Negotiation? Langford spat. I will not bow to a child. This is ridiculous. She's... His words faltered. The press had already arrived, drawn by the overnight chaos. Videos of Amara opening the safe, defying him, were already going viral. The hashtag #OurGirlVsBillionaire trended worldwide within hours. Memes, news clips, and opinion pieces flooded social media. Amara's courage was being celebrated everywhere. At school, her friends whispered excitedly when she arrived. Teachers were astonished. And at home, her mother held her tightly, overwhelmed with pride and relief. But the storm wasn't over. Langford, desperate, tried to discredit them. He claimed the child had hacked his system, accusing Tyesha of training her. But the documents, video evidence, and witness statements were undeniable. Amara's small voice, firm and unwavering, answered him in a televised interview. I didn't hack anything. I watched. I remembered. Anyone can pay attention. Anyone can notice. You said anyone could try. I tried. The world held its breath. Her words were simple, yet powerful. Justice didn't need threats. It didn't need money. It needed truth, courage, and integrity. Federal agents moved quickly. Langford's assets were frozen. His private accounts seized. Lawsuits piled up. Investors pulled out. The mansion's gilded walls now felt hollow, echoing the collapse of a life built on arrogance and deceit. Amara and Tyasha became symbols of resilience. They started speaking publicly about integrity, the value of observing the world closely, and the importance of standing up against injustice, no matter how powerful the opponent. But amidst all the attention, Amara's priorities were simple. She wanted her life back, a normal 14-year-old life. But she had grown. The world had changed her overnight. One afternoon, as they sat in the small park near their apartment, Tyasha looked at her daughter, her eyes glistening. "Amara, you changed everything." "Not just for us. For everyone who's been silenced, ignored, or humiliated. You've shown them that courage doesn't have an age and justice doesn't have a size." Amara smiled softly. "Mama, we just did what was right." News outlets continued covering the story for weeks. Langford faced federal charges. Investors demanded accountability. Employees who had feared retaliation now came forward with their own testimonies. And everywhere, people celebrated the girl who had opened a safe that a billionaire's experts had failed to crack. One evening, as Tyasha tucked Amara into bed, she whispered, "You know, some people spend their entire lives trying to make a difference. You did it in one night." Amara yawned, her mind already drifting to dreams, but a small, determined smile played on her lips. She didn't need recognition. She didn't need wealth. She needed the truth, and she had delivered it. And though the world would never forget the girl who took on a billionaire, she knew that her story was more than headlines. It was about courage, dignity, and the unwavering bond between a mother and her daughter. Because sometimes the smallest voices carry the loudest truths.